Hello everybody. I know it's been a minute since we posted a whole lot of content that hasn't just been meme worthy here. I mean, I guess it's not been that long, but still. It's just because I've not really known what to do, and sometimes I just don't make a move if I don't know what move to make. But we're going to be doing something a little more improvised. We're going to be doing a bit of Warframe content. They're going to be kind of like reviews, but they're not going to be reviews. They're going to be more like, I don't know, just my topic on certain firearms and weapons in the game, and kind of, ways for players to have fun in different ways, aside from playing just strictly meta, kind of like what I do and did. So it'll have a little bit of, like, you could do this when you're starting new or whatever, but, that's all up to opinion, and it'll be mostly just for fun. But that's going to be the first video that we make. We'll be here in just a minute, and you'll see just after this. It'll be about my first weapon ever and why I loved it so much and what I loved about it, which will be the regular Grenadier Crack. And we'll talk about all of that, why I like it, what I like about it, and all of that. But first, I want to talk to you about some goals. So, as some of you who follow me on Twitch, and most of you that watch this probably watch me on Twitch and just don't have enough time anymore. By the way, love you, thank you. But we have new goals. So I want to run an AdSense campaign for me and my channel and all of us here so we can get the word out and we can get some more followage here, a little bit more traffic. You see, my end goals aren't that sophisticated. I want 1,000 subs. That's a job. That's money and food on my table, and I don't need a cent more. That's what I want to achieve. Why does it matter? Well, it doesn't, because I just want to achieve something. And if I could achieve that, then I don't need to do anything else. I have very few ways that I want to try to prove myself to myself, and that's how I want to do it. Consider it my dream. And if any of you out there think, wow, that's all right, and you want to help, well, here's a few ways you can help. You're probably watching this on YouTube. So, easiest way, like, comment a thing saying, hey, I want to comment this to the algorithm to help me get picked up by it, and subscribe. Or possibly throw my videos, some of the memes up in some of your Discord channels. Even if it's my own, it helps all the little bit. Every single person helps. We are very new, and I'm not complaining about anything, okay? Finally, you could come check me out on Twitch. Having just people to talk to and company means more to me than any number could. So if you want to come by and hang out, there'll be a link in the description for that. Now, as on to the rest of the content, have fun with the video. Hello everybody, you may have just talked to me in full cam mode. You get to talk to me for a minute more. Hello, my name is Trinity. I'm a person detained by the Foundation. Don't worry, all names and places have been changed for secrecy. Don't worry about none of that. I just want to start this little tidbit off in addition to what we were doing to just say some general stuff that, not a dude, I know I may sound like it, it's just a weird condition, some people have it, don't really know, never really cared, but not a dude and female. What are we doing today? We are going to be rolling into some gun reviews, okay? So, a little bit of history. My personal history with this game started off right at the beginning of 2020, and we all know what happened there. Locked inside and just laid off from my job, I picked up a new hobby. It was Warframe. Me and a couple of friends decided to start playing. Of course, they were on console, and I only had a PC, so I was alone. So I played a lot of this game by myself, but that had its benefits. Benefits being, I could play how I wanted, not have to worry about anybody telling me how to play. So, the Crack was the very first weapon I found interesting. Now, you'll notice something about me, I'm pretty goal-orientated. I made it my goal to get it. I used the Mark I Brat until I got this firearm, and I used it for a very long time. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the gameplay.
The fuel is my obsession to make the perfect weapon, like Rasputin's rise to the top. Papa Kalash.
Okay, everybody, welcome. So, I'm going to be talking about the regular Crack, not the Kuva Crack, but the Crack Wraith, the regular Crack. There's a few things I want to make note with this gun. It's not the best. Now, I have a setup here, as you can see, 4 mods. This is without a catalyst and no forma. This is without an arcane adapter, and this is with only an arcane grace. The base stat chance and the base damage equals up to about 46.5 with those mods. I'll have my editor place the drop chances of thermite rounds, malignant forests, and those other mods above. I'm also running arcane acceleration. Now, I wouldn't worry too much about this, as this is for my other weapons. It doesn't affect the regular Crack that much, as it is a status weapon and not a crit weapon. Crit weapons would kind of benefit more from acceleration, more DPS, because they're critting a lot. This one's not going to affect it much. And then throughout the gameplay, you'll see where the fire rate ramps up really fast. That's from the Arcane Acceleration proc, but it's nothing to be that concerned with here. So with the regular Karak, I would recommend going with the gas build, at least from the beginning, because it has a higher stat chance, and the other status types, they're not as good, in my opinion, for the first bit, as damage doesn't necessarily matter as much. Now, if you're like me and the Cracked is one of the first weapons that you manage to pick up, the ability to kill multiple enemies is really important. Being a machine gun and an AR of its top, without a whole lot of multi-shot, it's not going to be hitting but one person at a time. So having the gas kind of gives you the ability to do a type of AoE damage, as it does somewhat spread and leave a cloud. You could argue that viral would be better, as it would ignore some of the shields, but I say at least for the first few levels of your gameplay, the Crack would be sufficient with gas. Now, you don't need the Malignant 4s or the Thermite rounds to make the gas build good. You could use the regular silver mods for it, but the extra stat chance from the dual stat mods are better. But if all you had is the regular round or the regular mods to add the status types, you'll be doing a little more damage, you'll be doing less stat chance, but I would recommend getting those mods. Then again, you should have saw by now where they drop. If not, I will provide links into the description of the wiki to show you where these come from. I do also run a clan over on my Twitch channel, as I talked about earlier. If you still have some trouble finding them, I have plenty, but of course I can't give one to everybody that comes by, but I can also do my best to help. And, you know, we as a community can try to help people out with some of the mods, as they can be kind of difficult to get. But anyway, so talking about the advantages of the Karak. Well, to be honest, it's really only good for the first few levels. Most people will get it for up to level 10 and then ditch it for other things. But if you have a particular fondness for it, without a catalyst, you're reasonably going to be able to take on up to level 30 enemies, give or take, maybe 25. You could use it throughout the star chart, about to Venus and Mars. It works okay. I again would recommend gas for the first bit and swap to viral when you start getting into the more Grenier-based places. Or radiation, sorry, my bad. Viral for the Corpus, radiation for the Grenier. But other than that, it should work fine with the build that I have. You could swap out the status chance for a bit more multi-shot if you have split chamber, but that's aside the point. You could use it for the first few planets. Now, with a catalyst, it opens up a whole lot of different build choices. With probably about 5 Forma and a catalyst, you could reasonably use this thing for the entirety of the star chart. I think I used mine here in the gameplay. Now, this isn't the original one I had. I unfortunately did have to get rid of my regular Karak for the Kuva Karak when I got it, but this is a rebought, so it doesn't have a catalyst on it yet. Poor girl problems. But I did use mine originally to complete the star chart with. Now, I didn't fully do every node, but I did get up to the end and get all that taken care of, all the nodes that I needed to do, the story missions and all that I used the Karak for. Now, I didn't get the Kuva Karak until I had already completed the entirety of the star chart. So, you can reasonably use it with a catalyst and the appropriate mods for a good amount of time. Now, I personally use mine with a combination of crit chance, Hunter's Munitions, stat chance in there as well, but I would recommend going for a full stat build with a slight bit of crit if you wanna, but stat is usually the way to go. You know, as you can see, I'm doing a survival mission. I'm doing fairly well with it, but these are fairly low-level enemies. This is the Venus survival mission, one of the first ones you'll do on the lower left-hand corner of the map. But it does function very well for what it is. It's a starter weapon. It's MR fodder to most people. The Kuva Karak and the Karak Wraith are far, far better. But I recommend if you're going to stick with the Karak, the Kuva Karak is the way to go. It's so much better. The crit is better. Crit on fully automatic rifles like this is so much better. But I digress. So that is the benefit of this rifle. It has a decent high rate of fire, decent mid-range accuracy. You'll see me try to tap with it from long range and it doesn't work out too well, but it could also be the user, not the gun. But I would say it works best at mid-range and close range. It is fairly good at that range too, considering its counterparts. But pretty much that ends many of the the benefits. The negatives are there on the Karak. It's not the best gun in the game. There's a reason why it's MR fodder to most people. Its 30-round magazine with its relatively low damage means that more often than not, and you can tell that I've adopted my gameplay style to the Karak a bit, as the Kuva Karak is my most used weapon, and it is by far my favorite weapon. So I've adopted my gameplay to it a bit, but reload often, because it is one of them guns you will find yourself reloading around every corner. It feels like you're playing freaking Call of Duty, reloading after every kill, but seriously, it is bad. Its reload speed is not slow, but it's not very fast either, kind of adding to that problem, and its rate of fire is decently high base. So things like critical deceleration is pretty useful, as it gives you 200% crit and negative 20% fire rate. It does help this mod a lot, and or help this gun, sorry. But yeah, it's really not the best gun in the game. Personally, love it. Now, talking about it for a minute, its design is really nice, and I think that's how it really captivated me as a firearm in this game. Warframe is a game with a multitude of weapons. A lot of weapons that are really powerful, like the Brahma and the Nuker and the Corinth. Really powerful weapons. Why I chose to use the Karak was a multitude of ways. Some because people told me it was trash and I wanted to use it. But I think the biggest reason is its design. Its design, and editor, if you wouldn't mind, show them a picture of the Karak in a more full picture for them. Its design is quite realistic. It looks like it holsters a drum magazine, more fitted to 60 rounds like the Kuva Karak, or well, 40 rounds on the Kuva Karak, sorry, correction. But it looks fitting for that, and it has that sort of fantasy Russian design to it. It looks like something you would see coming out of a Russian culture, you know, many years down the road when the AKM has become more obsolete and they need to upgrade it. It looks heavy, you know, it looks metal, and it's got all these jagged edges with these really, really like operator style designs to it, all to maximize the user's efficiency but maintain the weight to a minimum. And I really love its design. All the lines and the metal bars around the barrel, how the barrel even looks like, if you pay attention closely at the base, it has even a design that kind of looks similar to the MG34s, how they could release the barrel at the base in order to swap it out for a different one when under sustained heavy fire. It looks like you could change it out really well. And all things considered, I think its design is just beautiful. I think it has one of the best weapon designs in the game. It's kind of basic, and that's what I love about it. It has a very functional design. Now, you might be thinking, well, Trinity, how does that make it good if it's a very basic design? Because look at Warframe. You have all these crazy, outlandish, and outrageous weapon designs just scattered everywhere. Everywhere you turn, you have laser weapons, plasma shotguns, you know, shotguns that fire fucking grenades out the barrel, the Grattler. I mean, like, you got microwave beams and swords all over the place. You know, everything is kind of crazy in this game, and that's kind of the normal, is for everything to be crazy. The Karak being realistic, modern, and simple is unique, and that's what I love about it. I don't think every gun in the game should follow this design. No, because if it did, it would be boring. It would be amongst the sheep. I like it for its simple design, and it's one of the only guns in the game that have that, alongside the Lex and Lex Prime and stuff like that have pretty simple designs as well. You know, the Vostos. Vosto Prime looks a little bit more outlandish, but you know, you get my point. They have really, you know, futuristic feelings to it, but the Karak is grounded. You know, you could see this weapon and this firearm actually functioning in today's society. And that's what I like about it. But it still looks fake enough that it fits no one's agenda. It's just so neutral, and that's what I love about it. It's just a beautiful firearm. And I have a lot of passion for this gun because it is one of the very first weapons I ever held in this game. I didn't know at the time that you didn't have to buy the weapons for plat, and I used some of my startup plat to buy it. I'm gonna be honest, I bought it, and honestly, Digital Extreme should change that because it is kind of predatory, but I give them a bit of a break. Maybe they haven't really noticed it, but I bought it with plat when I originally got it, so yeah, I fell in love with it though. I did not regret my decision at all. I loved it, and I can say that 100 more times. Honestly, this I do recommend that you give it a chance. For all of you veterans out there, give the Kuva Karak another chance. I use mine in Steel Path on a regular basis. You know, this weapon is more than MR fodder. It is unique. It's the only Karak in the game. And I know that's kind of dumb to say, but it is unique. And I love it. And I feel like everybody should kind of give it another chance. Go out, pick up the Karak, throw a catalyst on it if you got one laying around, and see what you can do with it. You know, like, you could be legitimately surprised on what you might be able to do with a regular Karak and some hope. See, on my streams, people all the time ask me, like, why don't you use this or why don't you do this? And I never do, and I have a whole lot of fun with this game. I'm 2,000 hours into this game, and I love it. I have never had a day where I thought to myself, oh, I'm not enjoying Warframe anymore. I log in every day with a goal in mind and a smile on my face, and I stream for hours on end, having a blast, screaming and yelling with my chat and just having a ball. And it's because I play my game. You know, I play my own game. I don't play by the other rules. And I feel like people ought to try some of these, you know, Riven Disposition 5 weapons. You know, some of these really poor, shitty guns that don't matter. You know, there's people out there like Triburos, or have you say his name. Sorry if you watch this and I misspelled or missaid your name. Sorry. But in the Stug challenges, you know, the Stug is notoriously bad. But what about all the weapons in between that are just bad? Nobody cares about them. They're not specifically bad. They're just bad. What happens to them? You know, like, go out, try something new. But everybody, I hate to keep rambling on forever. This is just something I'm going to start doing for fun. The next video I think I'm going to make on something similar, another weapon that's very near and dear to my heart, and I've loved forever, and I put a lot of love into this one. So much so that I even occasionally use it to damage Eidolons. Not effectively, not a Rubico, but I do, occasionally. And it does it pretty well at it, and I feel like there's actually some hope in it if the few things go right, and these new weapon arcanes might make it possible, but we'll see about that one on a later basis when I can actually make it happen. But everybody, my name is TrinityAzure. I love you. This was the Karak, and I will see you beautiful people next time.